Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing 3 looks for you guys using the Mary Jane Melt Cosmetics palette. This is what the palette looks like. It has this cover that looks like smoke on the front, and the word Mary Jane is raised, so you can see it on the side right there. It is raised, and inside it has like these little glitter particles, which is really beautiful. So I am going to be doing 3 looks for you guys today. I really love the color scheme in this palette. It's very cool toned. I will talk about some of the shadows here in a minute because I'm going to do some swatches for you guys, but it does come with 10 shades. Now this palette runs for $58 on Sephora's website, so you're getting 10 shadows for $58. So this palette is free of parabens. It's also gluten-free and cruelty-free. So before we get into the eye look that I'm going to do today, I do want to go over some swatches with you guys. I will say that I did find, when I did the other 2 looks, that I did find that some of these shadows were a bit chunky. Had better luck using like a MAC 242 with the chunkier shades. I just felt like I could pack the product onto the brush and then onto my eyelid and not have any real issues. Now I did have fallout with those shadows, so I would suggest that you do your base makeup after putting on the shadows, and that's normally what I do, but today I'm going to be doing it a little bit different. I already put my base makeup on, I have my cheek color on and my bronzer and all that good stuff, so I am going to go in with these shadows. If I do get a little bit on my face, I did notice that with the other 2 looks that all I had to do was take a brush and just kind of lightly sweep it off and it came off. So yeah, so you're going to see some fallout when I show you the other 2 looks because I'm doing close-ups on those. So you will see a little bit of fallout right here around my nose and the top of my cheeks. So let me go ahead and swatch these for you guys. I'm going to start from here to here. So the first shade that I'm going to start with is called, and I've got the names here, let's see. So the first shade I'm going to start with is called Cali, and this is what they call a sheer crushed diamond. But that's Cali right there. Now Cali is one of the chunkier shades. As you can see, there is a little bit of chunkiness to it. But once you put it on with like a really firm brush, you won't see that much chunkiness from the shadow. Like I said, these type of shades have to be actually packed on and not like brushed on the lid. So yeah, just be mindful of that. If you do get this palette, that you will find that a couple of these shadows are going to be a little bit like chunky like that. That was that shade there. So the next shade below it is called Mari, and I'm going to swatch this one on the back of my hand for you guys as well. Now Mari is a beautiful cool tone transition shade. I use this to transition both of the looks that you're gonna see, and I'm probably gonna use it again for the look that I'm gonna do today. So yeah, this is a really beautiful matte shade in the palette. I'm gonna hold it like this because the other way is a little hard. So this next shade right here is called Beau. Beau is a beautiful, kind of like a bronzy gray tone. It's just really beautiful on the eye. I really love this shade. I think this is one of my favorite shades in the palette. The next shade we have is called Rubia. It's this one right here. And Rubia is a very beautiful kind of like chocolate brown. It's a very deep chocolate brown with a little bit of gray undertone. Just really pretty. The next shade right here is called Santa Maria. This one's a beautiful like smoky gray tone shade. Isn't that gorgeous? The next shade is called Sensi Mia. I think that's how you say it. This one's also like a chocolate brown, kind of like a gray chocolate brown. That is also a very beautiful color, and that's a matte shade. This shade right here is called Bamba. Now Bamba is another one of my favorite shades. It's kind of like a gray shade, but it has a little bit of green in it. I don't know if you guys can tell. When I move my hand, it kind of shifts with a little bit of green in there. The next shade right here is called Sweet Lucy. Sweet Lucy is also a very chunky type of shade, but it's still super beautiful on the eye. The next shade is called Gaspar. It's this one right here. Gaspar is more of like an olive tone. It's a deep olive tone, and that's another matte shade in the palette. And then your last shade is called Mary Jane. Now this shade is very pigmented in the palette, but as you can see, it's a very light on the back of my hand. It doesn't have a lot of pigmentation like the other shades. This one you can actually use like as an inner corner highlighter. You can also put it on the center of the lid on top of another shadow. So yeah, I thought it was gonna be a little bit like deeper toned, but it's not. It's not very pigmented at all. So I did go in with my By Mario Prep and Set Eye Primer. So now we're gonna go ahead and go into this eye look. I am going to go in with Mari, which is this shade right here that I told you guys was a great transition shade. And I'm using the same brushes that I used in the other two looks. They are my BK Beauty brushes. I will let you know what type of brush I use when I go in with the shade. And the first one is the 201. And like I said, I'm going into Mari. And Mari's just going to be like my transition shade for the entire eye look. I did find that these mattes work beautifully on the eyelid. They blend well. They have great pigmentation. The other shadow palette that I really love from the Melt Cosmetics line is She's in Parties. That's one of my favorites. All right, so now I'm going to go into a different shade, and I'm using the BK Beauty 202 brush. And these brushes are clean, guys. I did wipe them down. I'm going to go into Rubia. And with Rubia, I'm just going to actually go into the inner corner. And then I'm going to take a little bit of Rubia and go on the outer corner. And this is another matte shade in the palette, guys. Now the mattes, I don't find that they have a lot of fallout. It's just those other shades that are a little bit creamier. I've been saying chunkier, but I mean like they're super creamy that when you do swatch them or when you put them on a brush, they do come off with like little chunks. So that's why I said chunkier. But I am connecting the ends in the middle of my crease. Now a lot of these looks are very smoky, very deep looks. This palette would be more of like a palette that you would wear when you want to do a glam look. Now some of these mattes that are in the palette, you can obviously wear them during the day. And then maybe even like the Shadow Bow or Bomba, you can actually put all over the eye and wear it during the day as well and just add some mascara. But for the most part, I think this palette is more for like glam looks. All right, so we're doing kind of like a halo eye. I'm gonna go in with my MAC 242 and I'm gonna go into that shade Bomba, which is that shade right there. It looks silvery gray, but it has like a green undertone to it. And I'm just going to press that right in the middle. Normally you would see on a halo eye like the middle very light, but today I'm just going to create my own look. I love the green shift that this has. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is, because I want to kind of highlight that area a little bit, I'm going to go in with that shade Mary Jane. The Mary Jane is more of like a topper, I would say. It's not a very rich type of shadow. I'm just going to press it on top of that green, to kind of highlight that green area. This is a shade that is very crumbly, so you would want to just press it instead of like brushing it or using strokes. Just press, just like that. And then what I want to do is I do want to take my BK Beauty 205 brush, and I am going to go into Sensimia, which is this shade right here. And it's a very dark shade. Like I told you guys, it's more of like a dark chocolate brown. I'm just going to press a little bit on the outer corner, not too much. I don't want to take away from the whole look. So I'm just putting just a tad bit there just to add some depth to that eye look. And I'm just taking that 201, and I don't have any extra product. I'm just taking that brush and kind of just blending everything together. I'm gonna go ahead and put lashes on really quickly, and then we'll come back and finish off the lower lash. Okay guys, I'm just gonna go ahead and add a little bit on my lower lash line. I'm starting off with that Mari shade, and I'm just going in with a little pencil brush. It's more of like a fluffy pencil brush. And then I'm going to go in with a little bit of Rubia, just to deepen that outer corner. I think that's going to complete the look. I'm going to go ahead and put some mascara on. I'm going to go in with my e.l.f. Smudge Proof Mascara for my lower lashes. And then I'm going to go in with my By Mario Master Mattes Brightening Pencil in Light. I'm just going to put that on the lower lash line. All right guys, this is the finished eye look. Now let's go ahead and get into those other two looks, and then I'll come back and give you my final thoughts. hope you guys enjoyed those 2 looks. I do want to give you my final thoughts of this palette. I will say that I truly do love this palette. I think it's such a gorgeous palette to do some really beautiful glam looks with. I know that I'm going to get a lot of use out of this. I love all the shades in the palette. The only thing that I have to say that's negative about the palette is the fact that some of those shadows are a little bit chunky, but there's only like maybe 2 or 3 that are chunky in here, and it's not like I couldn't work with them. So I really do love the palette. I think it's such a gorgeous palette. If you're looking for a cool tone palette that's going to have great pigmentation and that's going to create some beautiful smoky eye looks, then I would definitely check this palette out. So that's my final thoughts. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. Subscribe if you're new here. I would love to have you. Take care, and we will see you on the next one.